Okay, we have about 30 minutes to have a pretty big conversation. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to Human to Human. This is my podcast where I share all about my life, all about the things I'm learning and growing and experiencing through in my life as a 25-year-old. And I've been doing this podcast since I was 19. And my name's Jessica Jane, and you can call me Jess. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm so excited to have you. If you've been here for a minute, if you've been here from the beginning, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. And we're going to talk about something that I have talked about on the podcast before, but I don't think I've talked about it as in depth maybe as I will today, because I have not had a year under my belt until today. I also just ate chicken curry, and so there's some phlegm in my throat that my gorgeous, beautiful king of an editor, Ben, will have to take out of here because it was spicy. Okay, so I have not drank alcohol for over a year. And I cannot even express how big of a deal this is for me personally in my life, how big of a timeline, how big of a milestone this is for me. And I will get into the specifics. So I don't consider myself sober. I would not call myself sober. I smoke weed. I take edibles. That's pretty much the only other. I'm not really doing other drugs, but weed is my fave thing. And so I would not say I'm a sober person because when I go out or go to a party, I do indulge in marijuana. So I am going to preface this conversation with that. I will also preface this conversation with I don't necessarily label myself as an alcoholic. I don't really say that. I've never gone to an AA meeting. However, I have met people and I work with a lot of people who go, and I've inquired, and I've honestly, actually, no, that's not true. I have been to one. I went to a virtual one. Anyway, that's a little bit more sensitive and personal of a topic, so I'm not going to get too much into that. And the virtual one kind of confirmed fears and stereotypes and reasons why I didn't want to go, and it intimidated me. So I do have people I really do trust, though, that I want to eventually experience something like that with them, just because I think it's so important to be around people who are doing something in the same vein as you, especially something as challenging and sometimes abnormal as not drinking alcohol. So yeah, that's sort of how I'll paint this conversation. But I'll give you a little bit of history that I have struggled with alcohol for a long time in the way of which I just was not happy with my relationship with it. I was not happy with the way I was using it. I was not happy with the way I'd feel after using it. And so for a very long time, I'm talking several years, I really, really, really needed and wanted to change my relationship with alcohol. And I really felt I could, but I just literally did not know how. And I grew up in a very big drinking culture. My family, my extended family, I just came back from a big family reunion weekend, and it brought back feels. I started drinking alcohol in grade 8 on those big family reunion weekends. And so alcohol has just been so deeply normalized to me my entire life. And not only alcohol consumption, but the way you consume it is go hard or go home, bitch. We're gulping. We're gulping. We're taking shots. When you have one, you have 7. And I could name different coolers that represented different eras of my life. And it's crazy because when I turned, I don't know, once I was 20 or 21, I was maybe more 22. I was I've been drinking for 10 years. I have been drinking since I was 12 years old. That's insane to me to think about that. I've drank enough in those 10 years, I think, hopefully for the rest of my life, okay? And it got to a point when I was in early university where I had this phase, I honestly think it went on for at least a year, where I would drink every weekend. Any time there was drinking in a social setting, I was drinking. And that was just the norm. From when I was about 15 onward, if there was alcohol in the room, even at family gatherings, it was like very normal. Once you got to like 15, 16, like you were drinking with everyone, and like nobody wanted to be the DD. You always wanted to be drinking. And I'm also just like prefacing, I'm speaking from my experience, and I don't want to say all of this is so negative. It was like, but my experience with it was negative, but not all negative. I fucking loved what alcohol would do to me. And I struggled so much with stopping drinking, and I still struggle because of the way people would talk about drunk Jess. Like, oh my God, drunk Jess is the best. Drunk Jess is so fun. Oh my God. Like the thought of someone never, this is hilarious because it's so people pleasy, but the thought of someone never experiencing drunk Jess again absolutely scared the shit out of me. And it's also wild because I'll talk a little bit maybe about being in a relationship with someone who does drink, but he very much does not drink the way I used to drink. So it helps. But like, Josh has seen me through so many alcohol phases, and he has now seen me without it for a year over plus. And it's so refreshing to have someone so close to you, like the closest person to me, be like, he said this to me when I was getting close to my 1 year. He was like, I do not think you ever need to integrate it back into your life. He's like, I don't ever see that needing to be a thing you have in your life. He's like, you are so fun at parties. You are so much happier without it. It's so emotional for me because I tried for about 3 years on and off. I don't know if 3 is really the number, but we'll just go with that. I was trying to stop, or I was trying to moderate, or I was trying to pull back, and I was trying to have a better relationship with it. And I finally got to a point of the day. I literally wrote it in my phone because I felt it. I felt it in that moment. I wrote Saturday, June 22nd, 2025, first day of not drinking. And in this moment, it wasn't even a crazy moment. It's not like I was like hungover, about to die type of vibes. It was like literally I was at a restaurant with my boyfriend, and I could have gotten a pina colada with rum or without rum, and I got it with rum. And then as soon as I was kind of drinking it and then experienced the feeling of like not being drunk anymore, or not being drunk obviously, but not being like having the alcohol in my system, like feeling the alcohol leave my system, it just like gave me this like, why did I drink in that moment? It was the middle of the day. We were like spontaneously walking on like Lakeshore, got a drink for a second just to take a break from a whole big social gathering we were at with his extended, community. Anywho, and I just had this flip switch where I said to myself, just see what your life could be for 1 year if you don't drink alcohol. Just see. And that's sort of a theme in my relationship with not drinking anymore was literally a full year before that, in August of 2024, I guess then, I said to myself, and I was really hungover when this happened. I was like, just see what your life could be if you didn't drink for 1 month. And I did it. And I felt amazing. And then I went to 2, and then I went to 3. But then I went to Montreal and I visited my friends, and I was like, but what if I drank again? And they were like, what if you drank again? And we were like, what if I drank again? And then I got drunk. And then it got back into the cycle. And then 2 months later, I was like, guys, we're going to go out. It's like Josh's last night out before he has ACL surgery. This was the first one. If you know, you know, he just had a second one. And so that night we went out and I got absolutely hammered, and the cycle progressed, and I fought with Josh at a bar because he wanted to go bar hop to a different bar. I didn't want to. I got really fucking rude. I swore at him and was like, why the fuck would we leave? And he didn't want to deal with me. He was great. He basically just like didn't say anything else. Great way to diffuse a drunk situation is just stop talking. And then I cried on the subway home to one of the girls that was there who didn't quite understand my experience and my history with alcohol. And I mean, nobody did. Nobody did. Everyone saw this incredible version of me. I'm Jess. I'm the life of the party. I go fucking bananas. I raise the energy in the room. Nobody saw the dark side of it because the only person in the dark of it was me. And yeah, Josh would see it. But like, I'm the only one who had to live inside my body during my hangovers. I'm the only one who had to deal with myself and my massive anxiety and my emotional roller coasters and my ups and downs that would progress for weeks, because it would be like, well, Saturday I went hard and Sunday I'm hungover and I feel like shit till Tuesday or Wednesday. But then Friday came around and I drank again and it was up and down and up and down. Yeah, you at the party didn't think I had a problem because you never saw the dark part. And it was me who kept saying to myself, I know this dark part is not fucking worth it. I know it. And it was so crazy, those really early days of not drinking anymore, where I would go to a party and it was fucking hard. I had to have a game plan. I would huddle over in a corner, open a non-alcoholic drink like a bubbly, pour it into a red cup, throw away the can somewhere so no one knew, so it looked to everybody else like I was drinking. Like, I have lied many times when people are like, what are you drinking? It's like, you don't want to be the fucking buzzkill who's like, club soda. I'm like, oh, vodka water or like a vodka soda. It's like, nobody needs. And then if it never got to the point where someone's like, let me have a sip, because if they did, then fuck you. Like, go fuck yourself. Do you know what I mean? But I also can't judge because I have been that person. And I still sometimes am when, like, I don't know, my body takes over. I'm trying to fit in a social situation. I'm like, Josh, yeah, do it. Josh, do it. Like, the peer pressure is crazy. And the social aspect of drinking is crazy. And honestly, I'm sort of bouncing around all over the place, never finishing a full thought in this episode. And that's how it's going to go. I have a coworker who I love so much who's like, ADHD, sister, you have ADHD. She's like, it takes one to know one. But honestly, like, if you listen to my episodes consistently, like, this is becoming a conversation you'll continue to hear. So I'm telling myself this more than you. I don't need to tell you everything all at once right now or get all my thoughts out there all at once. But I think this is a really fun episode to celebrate this insane milestone I didn't know I could get to. And yeah, so where I wanted to go with that thought is I was talking to my therapist at some point within, I think, this year of not drinking. And she said to me, she's like, what is your ideal scenario? Like, dream world, you don't drink alcohol, you don't want to drink, but like, what's stopping you? Like, she just asked me a really good question. I fucking love my therapist. Like, just as a preface for that too. I literally didn't even realize it wasn't last year, but the year before when I lived downtown, in my most recent downtown experience before this one, I saw her like every week. And I didn't even know I was seeing her that much. But God, did I need her. It was a hard season. And it was a season where like I was still on and off drinking alcohol. It was a lot. So anyway, she was like, oh, what's your ideal scenario? And I was like, everybody thinks I'm drinking and I'm not. And she's like, boy, does that sound like people pleasing, babe. And I was like, damn, I didn't fucking realize that. And we explored it more. And like, I so badly, and I still feel this way oftentimes, I so badly in party situations just wish everyone thought I was drinking. And the whole energy of the experience was that alcohol was going into my system, and it just wasn't. And that's for so many reasons. Drinking is a bonder. Drinking is a way that people come together. Have you heard shots? Let's say shots. Let's say shots. Let's say shots. And to be the one person not consuming, it's like you are othered. You are someone that is now a loser in my own mind, even if that was not the reality, even though it felt like it was. And even though like over the couple years that I would try to drink and then try to stop drinking and then I drink again, like it started to get to a point where like it was becoming normalized that I don't drink anymore. And so like one of Josh's friends, he would pour everyone shots and he would always pour me a water shot. And it would just like mean the world to me because he just knew and he didn't pressure me anymore. And it's funny because Josh and I just went to a bunch of prees and parties this past Saturday. And Josh was like, it's different when you're a girl. And I was like, interesting. I didn't think about that because we went to a pre where the energy was that. And that's the thing. I also don't judge a pre's energy of being really heavily alcohol based, because I've been to many pre's that are like that, but I genuinely love all the people there. And so it's like, I don't see these people as like, oh, you fucking losers. It's like, no, like sometimes that's just the motive. Sometimes that's just the vibe. And I am with you in it. Let's just pretend we don't have to drink to be that hype. You know, like alcohol is a way to like make everyone hype. It's kind of weird. And anyway, I was saying to Josh, like, oh, but like you drank, how did you like feel about it? And he was like, yeah, it was fine. But like, I also didn't feel like I had a choice. And I was like, I actually call him out lately and I've been enjoying it. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You have a choice. Like, what do you mean? Like, I said no. And he was like, facts. And he really could have said no and everything would be fine if he did. But he went into the day being like, I'll drink a little bit. I'm not going to drink a lot kind of thing. But the thing he said to me was, it's different when you're a girl, because when a guy says no, he's like, you don't want to be like, oh, I'm a fucking pussy type shit. And so I was like, I actually didn't think about that. Like, you don't want a guy to look at another guy and be like, you're being such a bitch. Like, just take your shot. You know what I mean? Like, a guy's not going to do that to me. So that's interesting. And I've been sort of getting to like work through this with my therapist. I mean, not just with the alcohol, but so many other things of like, how can you be comfortable in these uncomfortable, or how can you just like choose what you need for yourself in these uncomfortable situations, right? And we've been exploring, like, she's like, you're not responsible for all these people's feelings. Like, you're not responsible for making sure they feel like they can still have a good time even if you're not drinking. And she's like, if you not drinking triggers other people, that has literally nothing to do with you, and that's about them. And it's taken me a long time and a lot of practice to start to grasp this. And I'm still very actively working on different triggers I have. Luckily, like, I don't feel like alcohol is, not that it would be a bad thing, is like a main topic of conversation for my therapy. You know what it is though? Overworking. Pushing myself too hard. Being uncomfortable when I'm not super busy. So that's a whole other thing. But I've slowly started to just get more comfortable not drinking. And also I know what I need. Like, okay, so let's talk about the new era I'm entering. I did not want to openly discuss my lack of drinking over the past year in too much depth because I wanted to prove to myself I could do it, because I've never done it. I wanted to see what my life could feel like not drinking for an entire year. And now that I'm slowly entering more party environments more often now that I'm, you know, a non-drinker, I feel like I can speak to it in a different way. And this is kind of exactly why I think I didn't want to talk about it for an entire year. Because it's emotionally draining sometimes to go to parties and be around drinkers and not be drinking. And it can be really triggering. And I love like following certain people who don't drink to whatever way they like to frame it and name it and talk about it. I have really found my own words that feel appropriate for me. Like, I don't call myself an alcoholic, but I more recently have started to talk about like cravings, and I will like have cravings to drink. And sometimes they will come at really like weird random times. Like at a pre, you think that's when I'd have the craving, but sometimes it's like, oh, it's a sunny day in the summer in Toronto. I'm walking down the street and like, oh my God, I could so go for, you know, a nice cooler. Or like I'm at a brunch and I see a Caesar on a menu and I'm like, oh my God, I want a Caesar. So I experience triggers at very like odd times at points. So I feel like I'm entering this new era because I can talk about this and have more tools for myself. And also I can reflect back on the last year and understand more why my life was the way it was, what my social situations were, and kind of how I'm changing. So in the past year, when I look back on it, I'm like, wow, like I don't feel like I was being as social as I could have been. I haven't been to bars in a really long time. I still don't really go to bars, but like I don't feel like I had any type of like party energy going on. And also, I was living with my parents. I was living in their basement. Winter is hard. Josh was living with his parents in Mississauga. Like now we live in Toronto. We're very exposed to party culture. But also part of this took a toll, I think, on my self-esteem. And only in the past year did I start kind of being like, okay, I want to like enter my hot girl era. Like I had an era where I was wearing, I mean, I had laser eye surgery only like a year and a half ago. I had a very long era where I was wearing glasses and wearing contacts. I would try, but they were so uncomfortable. And I feel cuter without glasses on just because I can see the world better and there's not this thing in my way. You can be a sexy ass bitch with glasses. I just personally didn't feel like one. Then I also had 6 months where I had the ugliest glasses I've ever had in my life because no one was supporting my fashion decisions. And I was at Costco with my dad and got big ass frames. And I also had braces on my lower teeth for 6 months. I had awful acne for a while. And I look at these, I don't think I was ugly. Okay. I'm not looking back at this being like, she was an ugly hoe, but like, I didn't feel my best. So there's that. And then in the past year, I haven't been really like strutting my stuff. You know, I haven't felt like a bad bitch all the time. I've had many moments of bad bitchery, but like on a regular basis, I don't really think I was like in my hot girl era. And recently, I've changed a few career things. I'm back in a community that I was really close with before, and now there's even more people I can be friends with. I've been having these experiences where I'm like, oh my God. And Josh and I recently have been like going on like struts on the street when we're like going out on a Friday or Saturday night, not even with a bar motive. And so I'm experiencing life in such a different way than I was in Etobicoke, obviously. So one of the big reasons also before I hit this milestone, I didn't want to talk about it is because in the first year, and like people say this, especially in like known sobriety experiences, you are experiencing a lot of firsts not drinking. And even though I still had experienced some firsts not drinking, for example, like I remember a Christmas where I didn't drink, and there were certain experiences and occasions where I didn't drink, but like I had never gone a full year without drinking. And the most I would probably go is like 4 or 5 months. And part of the like experience too of like why I had this like click of like, oh, I need to not drink for a whole year is because I had to take the decision making out of the equation. Because this is how I was living before. Okay, I know inside of me I don't want to drink. I know I feel like fucking garbage the next day. But then you're in a social situation, alcohol's right in front of you. And there are so many micro moments when you are in a situation with alcohol where you have to decide, am I drinking or am I not? And in my life, for the first couple early years of my 20s, when I decided I wanted to stop drinking, I would like leave the decision until that moment. And if you leave the decision to that moment, you're fucked. Like, I don't know how else to put it. You're fucked. You're going to drink. Or at least for me, I was going to drink. And I would. And I did. And that's how I kept going back to it. I would try and I'd keep going back to it. And don't get me wrong, I was doing my best. And also the amount of times Josh saw me hungover, absolutely sobbing, crying, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want this in my life anymore. I need to stop. And him being like, I support you with stopping. It was hard. And that's why on June, whatever it was, 22nd, 2025, I said, I'm done making the decision. I'm done making the decision every time I have the option. The decision is no. The decision is no, and the decision will be no for 12 months. And after those 12 months, I will allow myself to reassess. It feels so cool to talk about this because like I don't really talk about this to people. And I think it's because I am scared of what people think. And I have a people pleaser in me. And I don't want people to think I have a problem, I guess. I don't want people to think I'm an alcoholic if I am. I don't want people to think I'm less fun. I don't want people to think I'll judge them if they're drinking around me. I also think this is one of the most vulnerable things I have ever gone through. And it's hard. And in the people, with the people who are really close to me, aka my family, alcohol is very, very, very like seamlessly integrated into our lives, into our social lives. So it was hardest for me, and I know my mom's listening, love you. It was the hardest for me to not drink around them. And also, I was going to say this earlier, during my phases of drinking and being on and off and off, being on again and off again, people started to know me as not being a drinker. But then once in a while, those motherfuckers would catch me in a moment where I would be like, I'm tired of saying no, I'm going to say yes. And the excitement I would receive, and this isn't a dig on them. I love them. I don't care that they drink as long as they're cool with it and they're like, whatever. Like, it's not to say these aren't good friends. They're still my close friends, some of them. I will talk about not having, I have definitely had a lot of friendship breakups through this experience in the past like 3 or 4 years. But the excitement on their fucking face when they would be like, holy fuck, Jess is drinking tonight. It's like, how can you now turn around and be like, I'm not going to drink? You know what I mean? It's like the whole vibe is like, we're so excited Jess is getting drunk. And I remember the last time my mom saw me drunk and she was like, whoa, I have not seen this Jess in a while. And I don't know what that meant. And I don't know what more of it means. And I know she's proud of me. And she literally texted me today saying her and my dad was just saying how he's proud of me. And I said, aw, because I'm not drinking, ? And she was like, yeah. And you're also like having fun going out though. And I think that brings me to this era now. I think we're finally here in our last few moments. I was not partying during the past year. I was not drinking. My brother would call me lame. My brother suddenly in his party era, not suddenly, but like when I was in high school, I was in my party era. When I was in uni, I was in my party era. And my brother's only 1.5 years older than me. So I was partying a long time before my brother was really partying. And now that my brother is in his party era, or he's like kind of nearing the end of like the deep party era, I feel like. But like, I don't know, maybe I was calling him lame then. I probably was. And so now he's calling me lame. And so my family has definitely seen me not be as social as I think they've seen me be in the past. And now I've entered this new era where I'm calling it my silly, reckless summer. My therapist is like supporting me on it because I was calling it my stupid, reckless summer. And she's like helping me work through the fact that this is not stupid and I'm allowed to have fun because that's also something I'm working through in therapy. And I'm really, really excited to be in this new phase because I feel like partying and like dancing and like high energy social environments are so important for my well-being and my self-esteem and my love for life. And so not having that in my life as much before was like very hard. And I didn't realize I was missing it so much until I recently went out. So I am running events for a therapy practice, BB Therapy. I like just love them so much. And it's so fun to be running these events. And I ran an event on a Saturday and Josh was camping and I was like, oh my God, I had just made a new friend at work. And I was like, oh my God, maybe like we'll end up hanging out and it'll be fun. And so then he invited me to go to a street festival with him and his friends. And it was just like, it opened my eyes back up to like the world of partying. And thank God, bless my new friend, we were walking to go meet up with his friends. And I don't know, maybe I brought it up, maybe he asked, but I was just like, I don't drink. And that's something that took me so long to get comfortable saying is I don't drink. And meeting new people helps though, because when I meet a new person and say I don't drink, it's easier than telling an older person or like a person who's known me longer, which actually I will pivot for a quick sec, remind me where I was going and I will come back. But I did end up having to say to some of my friends, I will not be drinking for 1 year, so just please stop asking. And I was so uncomfortable doing it, but I had to because every time we'd get together, it'd be like, oh my God, are you drinking today? And I knew for my well-being, I could not have that be the energy. It wouldn't feel good for me. And I know it would put a distance between me and those people. And so I had to communicate that. I had to awkwardly fumble my way through it and they were cool with it. Obviously, if they weren't cool with it, I wouldn't be friends with these people. And I'm not friends with a lot of people anymore because drinking was a huge part of the culture, but there was also a whole slew of other things that went with it. And so, you know, I had to say that, like, just don't ask anymore because I'm just not. And then there'd be moments where they'd like forget and be like, are you, oh, okay, right. And I'd just be like, nope, I'm not drinking. Versus when you meet someone new, it's like, oh, you can be a whole new version of yourself. And I'm like, nope, I am Jessica who does not drink. But I got to tell this friend and like coworker on the walk to go see his friends. I'm like, no, I don't drink. And I like, and he asked me a question that I'm going to get to this. This is going to be the end of the podcast. I'll sum it up at the end. I still struggle is like, well, okay, you've always wanted to get to 1 year, but like what now? And I don't know what I said to him because I was scared to say the truth. Maybe I'll tell the world the truth in this episode right now, but I just kind of didn't give him an answer. But this is why it is so important for me personally to be honest and to also have an ally at a party. And so, like, in a lot of social situations within the past year, going through all the firsts of not drinking, I'll name a few. First wedding, very vividly remember how that was feeling during that moment where I wasn't drinking. For first, like, my own birthday, other people's birthday, vacation, first all-inclusive without drinking. That was crazy. Going to Europe and not drinking. Like, there's all of these firsts you have to go through. But honestly, for me, going through those firsts gave me, like, notches on the bedpost. You know what I'm saying? Like, they gave me, like, visible examples of, like, I can do it and I did it. And each event would have its different degree of challenge. Some were easy breezy and some were very triggering. And so this night when I went out for the first time with none of my safe people who know me and know my journey with alcohol, it was a real tester for me. But gratefully, I told this friend before we met up with his friends, I don't drink, whatever. And I cannot express, like, I get emotional thinking about it, how grateful I am for this person because he advocated for me not drinking in so many moments throughout the night. Because obviously also, like, I'm with his people. I'm not with my people. If I'm with my people, I gotta tell my people to go fuck themselves. You know what I mean? But I'm in this situation with all these new people and drinking was a huge energy of the night. And there were moments where I said no a few times, but I was struggling to say it again in another moment. Because also, people don't know what you really mean when you say you don't drink, okay? Some people, and there was one person I met this night, this one guy was like, you don't drink? I don't drink. And I could tell it was the same type of not drinking. And you feel a fucking connection with that person and it's awesome. So there's one version. Another version is you don't really drink. People think you kind of don't drink. And honestly, wish I could be that bitch. That is Josh. So one of the big things I wanted to kind of answer in this episode is like, how do I not drink with a partner who does drink? Josh barely drinks. He barely drinks. And not to say I haven't seen him drunk. He's had his fair share of puking nights and all these other experiences. Oh my gosh, my ADHD is going crazy because I wanted to tell you, and I totally lost my train of thought at the beginning of the episode. I, for a whole year, would have a phase where once a month, every month, I would drink too much to the point where I would puke. And that's when it was really getting to a bad place where I was like, I can't keep fucking living like this. So that was just a painting the picture of how bad it could go. And so anyway, I can do this with Josh because he barely drinks. And especially now in this recent year of us being together. And he's not the type of person who has one and needs to have 7. He can have one and go, woo, I'm a little tipsy. And then he never has another. And we just went out. We went to this big pre. There was a lot of drinking. He had a couple shots. Then we went out properly to like a event at like Rebel, like a R&B festival. And he just like didn't even need to go to the bar to get a drink. Didn't even need to go to the bar to get water. Like this guy doesn't even need a beverage. And so it's like I can date him, obviously, because it's different. If I was dating someone who needed to like get hammered every time he went out, I don't know if it would work. So grateful for his alcohol consumption. So anyway, back to this street festival I went to with a bunch of new friends. It was such a fun experience. And I'm so grateful for the person who brought me because he also helped me not drink. Like there were like many moments where I was like, oh my God, I fucking wish these people like thought I was drinking right now. And also, okay, so many thoughts. One of the things is I've learned how to frame it though. And this is why I don't consider myself a sober person is because I'll be like, no, I'm more of a smoker. No, like I'm more of a smoker. And people are like, oh, sick. And then the amount of times at party events lately where I say this to someone and they go, oh, if I smoked weed right now, I would be antisocial. I would be in the corner, not talking to anyone. And I'm like, yeah, we're all different, babe. We're all different. Like clearly I'm not the same. Okay. But at this street festival, like, yes, it was triggering. Yes, it was like crazy. And there was this one moment so vividly. And this is why I think like I really wasn't around alcohol as much as I could in the first year was like, there was a drink that like really everyone felt needed to be drank. And oh my gosh, that's also something else I've worked through is just like how crazy the culture is around like shame beers. Like I would be the person to be like, no one can leave a drink unfinished. And so anyway, that was the vibe going on. And like one guy was literally handing it to me and I was gonna take it and hold it or something. And my coworker was like, no, I'll take it. And I was just like, thank you. And in this moment, in this experience, and I don't know, my friends probably started to pick up on this, or he's not because he doesn't give a shit. And maybe he's listening and he now knows. But in this street festival, I realized like I need a drink in my hand. I already knew that. I need a drink in my hand. But it reminded me how much I need a red Solo cup in my hand. And so there was a moment at the street festival where I had lost the non-alcoholic beverage I had thrown it out or whatever. And then I no longer had a drink in my hand. And there was a lot of cheersing going around. And I was like, holy fucking shit. I need a cup in my hand right now, or like I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna die. And so I like awkwardly asked a bartender for a cup, and she was like very pissy and like didn't want to give it to me. And I just had to do it anyway. And then I like had a moment, told my friend, whatever. And then recently I was with the same friend, same like group, but met new people at this spree. And he's like, do you need anything? And I was like, actually, I need a cup. Can I have a cup? And so then I put my bubbly in my cup and I felt better. And so this one night going out just like opened up this new world for me. I'm so dramatic like this. Like this is such a fucking just thing to say. Other people, I don't know, maybe you have this in your heads and you don't tell the world, but here I am. It just blew my mind because also I wasn't with any of my normal people. My boyfriend wasn't there. I was at this really fun street festival that like I haven't been to a street festival like this since I was in like a grade 9 or 10. Like throwback. Anyone who knows. Yuki Fest, Taste of the Kingsway. Like we would be on some next shit, getting absolutely hammered. I remember drinking vodka out of a water bottle and like a cop walking by me and being like, whoa, whoops-a-daisies. And just like you get sloshed, you see everyone you know you're going to see everyone you know. If you run into someone you have a crush on, great. If you run into an ex, great. Like that's just the vibe. And that's what this street festival was on crack. Like now we're adults and we're doing this silly, goofy shit. And I just got to like be with this new group of friends and just like wander around wherever they wanted to go and just like have the best time. And you're around hot people and you're like, I feel hot again. And I just felt like I had resurrected this part of myself I had not known and gotten to meet and enjoy and hang out with in a very long time. And don't get me wrong, I had her in other ways, like teaching an upregulating class at Othership and like getting everyone hype and like working at socials and being like, wow. Like I still had experiences where I felt like I was like the life of the party, but they were in like contained environments where I was getting paid to do it. That is so different. That is why after this event, I entered my silly reckless summer where I was like, this is something I need to do again. I'm 25. I moved in with my boyfriend. It feels like I could become a grandma who's married. Do you know what I mean? And that is not what I want to be. I'm not having kids anytime soon. I am ready to have my party era and I can do it without alcohol. And I have also needed to like mentally prep. Do you know what I mean? And so when I'm going to see a group of friends, I already know the vibes of like, for example, met that group at this street festival and then went to see them again last night. And I knew the pre would be that energy. And I was like, I'm good. These people know I don't drink. Whoever else I meet, say less. Like I know what to expect. And that's what I can handle. But before that pre, we went to another pre of Josh's coworkers, and he said, like, these people are big drinking people. They are big drinking, pushing people. I always appreciate a warning too. God, do I love a warning. And so then I was like, oh, okay, fuck. And you have to like kind of ramp yourself up for it, get yourself ready for it, like know that that's what the energy is going to be. Know how you're going to handle it. And I think the whole theme of this is like intention setting. Having an intention and knowing like how you're going to go into this setting, how you're going to navigate it, having your safe people. It always makes such a difference to have someone who knows that you don't drink and supports you on it. And I had not, I think, ever, minus with my partner, experienced someone literally advocating for me and saying, no, she does not drink. And that's why it meant so much to me in that moment with this like very new friend at the time that I was like, wow, like I feel so supported. And that's what's like, you gotta find those people. And I have people who are also sober who are like that, who I can lean on, but they're not people who I'm going and partying with, for example. And so I just am so excited about this new season of life and so excited that I feel like I can finally sit here and talk about it and feel more confident in my decisions of not drinking and be more open about it because I have now had that year under my belt. So I guess that takes me to my closer because we're already past 30 minutes and I know Josh is waiting to hang out with me because he loves me and we're going to go have rooftop time before we go to bed. Anywho, like what's next? I mean, if I'm being so honest, like not drinking for the rest of my life. But if you say that, that'll scare the motherfucking shit out of you. You know what I mean? But that's kind of the answer I have for now. Like, I don't see it being a good idea to implement it back into my life. I don't see it being this thing that's going to add value to my life. I don't think it's something healthy for me and my mind. And it's crazy too, because I've been talking to my therapist about like, you know, all this kind of just, we've been working through a lot of like past childhood traumas that I wouldn't even call traumas until now. And there was situations I had a lot of shame about that now her and I are starting to be like, okay, where's this shame coming from? And I'm like, did I feel like shit about like hooking up with that guy because I hooked up with a guy and it felt slutty and wrong? Or like, do I feel like shit from hooking up with a guy? I'm talking like first year before my relationship and first year university. And I'm like, did I feel like shit because I fucking drank and I was hungover the next day? You know what I mean? Like there's like so much kind of shame that was wrapped up in like a few different things. And so it's very interesting to kind of explore where it's coming from. I just love my therapist so much. And I'm just so grateful to be like talking through these things. So yeah, that's where I'll leave you, in the unknown, in the abyss of the future, because that's just what it is. Like, am I not going to drink for the rest of my life? I'm not going to say yes or no because that's a terrifying claim to make. Is there a time in my future where it might be a fun thing to integrate? I don't know. One day, will I be able to handle it well? I doubt it. But I'm so grateful for the year I've just put under my belt and for the community and the support systems I've found, for the tools I've found with myself, for the ability to feel like I can go party and not consume and have a good time. And it's kind of cool to start to process that my dad's recognizing that, because like my family is fucking fun. My family is so much fun. They are partiers. They love some beer. And I didn't want to ever feel like I wasn't part of that anymore. And I never felt like that. I didn't, in the past year, it's not like, I won't say I never felt like that. I definitely have felt like I'm not a part of it because I'm not drinking. But it's like when I work through that in my own body, we're fine. We're fine. And everybody else knows I'm a good time. So it's all good. But like there is social anxiety that comes up and it is a lot and it's hard. But the craziest thing is the way I've been able to change my relationship with myself, how I've been able to build so much trust with myself, how I've been able to show myself I could do a really fucking hard thing that I didn't think I could do and do it proudly. And the people who are really close to me, they don't tell me they miss drunk Jess anymore. They don't talk about me drinking or not drinking anymore. There was still moments or whatever, but now I'm like going to Veld with my brother and his girlfriend, who's like my best friend, and all of their friends. And my brother's like, Jess, it's all good. You can like smoke weed the whole time. And like now it's funny because my brother has come to me and said something like this, and some people have said this to me, like now I feel like I'm a safe person to talk shit to alcohol about. You know what I mean? Talk shit about alcohol too, you know? Where like my brother's like, I just can't fucking drink for 3 days at a festival. And I'm like, no shit. And so now it's kind of interesting that that's how things have evolved, where I could be a safe person to talk to about alcohol and know that if you ever want to talk about it, I'm here. And I'm really, really grateful, and shout out to the people who have been there for me throughout the process. And the craziest thing, I can think of so many people, like a coworker, a freaking like Othership people, fucking a girl I've met at Othership where we're friends. Like none of these people are my besties, which is wild. I don't have anyone actually in my close circle who does not drink. So it's just interesting that you can be someone who doesn't drink, or I'm not going to talk to you. I'm talking to me. I can be someone who doesn't drink with people all close to me who do. And so I'm proud of myself for that, because I think that was a big fear too, was like, if I don't drink, like, am I a loser? Anyway, I'll end it there. I feel like you could talk about, or I could talk about fucking alcohol all day long and my experience with it. And yet when people who do drink, who are close to me, ask me about it, I'm like, ugh. And I didn't tell anyone for a really long time, actually, that I wasn't going to drink for a whole year. I kept it to myself. It felt like a very sacred secret that I needed to just have close to my chest. And it wasn't until about 2 months after I decided I wasn't going to drink for a year that I opened up to Josh about it. And we were at a bonfire camping, just the two of us. And I said to him, I was like, I'm going to be so real and I don't want you to tell anyone this. And I'm not going to tell anyone this for a while. It took me probably about 6 months at least before I started to say, no, I'm not drinking and I won't drink for a year. But I said to him, I was like, I think I have a real problem. And I'm not happy with my relationship with it. And I really know I have to change it. And I'm not telling anyone because I need to like kind of deal with this myself first. And it was emosh. And I cried. And he supported me. And now here we are. So I'm excited for what the next year has to come. I mean, next milestone is 2 years. So I'm excited for that. And I hope, I don't know, you respect my vulnerability in this conversation, because this is definitely less about what I hope you could take away from it and more about what I felt I wanted to share about it. So thank you for listening to a very personal conversation, and it means a lot if you support the show in any way. For example, giving me a rating and a review, maybe subscribing, maybe sending this to someone, which is quite a personal thing to share with someone. You look like you have a problem with alcohol. Listen to this episode. Yeah, and I don't like to label my relationship with it. So, hallelujah. Woohoo! Anywho, one of the other things I was going to say at the very beginning when I lost my train of thought, and I swear I'm going to stop talking because I know Josh is ready to hang out with me. I'm coming! I forgot. I guess you'll have to subscribe and find out next time. Okay, love you. Bye.